Welcome to this 7th episode of the Illegal Use of Hands to the Face podcast. How you doing, Jake?
I'm doing great, Hayden. How are you?
Tremendous! Today was an awful day for Bills fans as we lost out on J.J. Watt, and Cardinals fans should be happy. I don't know how much this affects their team because it's really kind of hard to tell the impact of J.J. Watt when he was on such a terrible team last year, but I still think he'll be a big role for them, and I think he'll help them out a lot.
Yes, I believe JJ will be a big impact for that team. I just find it funny that he said whatever team he signs with, the reason's going to be because he wants to win Super Bowls. And I do understand that making it out of the NFC will be easier than trying to make it through the AFC. But in order to make it out the NFC, he now has to make it out the NFC West, which seems harder to make it out than the AFC as a whole.
Yeah, I think what we learned this week is that although J.J. Watt likes winning, and he likes his family, and all that, and everything else, money still does a pretty good trick on you.
Yes, it does.
We don't know what the other contracts were, but I mean the other teams we were speculating that he was considering going to. I'd have to be guessing that they were offering less money for the Cardinals to be able to pull him away, because I don't see any reason besides money that would pull you there. At least because of the other teams that we were suspecting were in the running.
The Cardinals offered him way more money than I thought he was going to get. He's getting like 15.5 mil every year, 2-year contract, 31 million, 23 of it's guaranteed. That's ridiculous. I didn't think he was going to get close to that.
Well, to be honest with you, that's what I expected him to get. I just didn't think that there would only be one team that was willing to pay it. I thought there would be, because it's only a 2-year deal, right? So it's not like you're committing yourself for a long time. Realize it's a lot of money, but I think that's a lot easier to do when you don't do it over a long period of time, which is why I thought more teams would have been willing to do it, but I guess not. And I guess that kind of sets up the strange thing for the offseason when other people become free agents, like Richard Sherman, who we know only wants a 2-year deal. Like, is he about to get way more money from like a lower level team than if he tried to go to a competitive team at this time? It's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know about Sherman, because I think to Sherman at this point in his career, at least, because he's made it clear that he's only got 2 years left, or at least he wants a 2-year contract, which makes it seem like he's only got 2 years left. So I don't know if he'll really just want to get as much cash as he can, especially when he's as smart as he is, and he'll definitely he's already got the Fan Control Football League to make bank on after he retires. So I could see him going somewhere to win.
It'll be
instead of getting a bag.
If I go through watching the AAF, and then I watch the XFL, and then I watch the FCF, and the FCF is the first one of those 3 football leagues that survives, like, what is even going on? Like, seriously, what is going on? How? Like, that doesn't even make any sense.
The product is amazing to watch, though. I don't want to say it's as entertaining as the AAF was or the XFL. At least the XFL. The AAF, I was kind of falling asleep for some of those games, but they get everyone involved, which is amazing, especially after the new review rules that they put in place leading up to the last game, where the fans get to vote on the reviews, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, I think I think keeping people involved will definitely keep people around. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, Zappers finally got a win, and I checked out the highlights since I couldn't watch the game on Saturday. And boy, that man, they tried to lose it again, though. They really tried.
Did you see the funny clip of when they were interviewing Johnny Manziel and the Aces scored, and he just goes, "Yeah, we're an offensive team anyway. It doesn't really matter."
Yes, I did see that.
That was great. Everyone, this is what I love about Twitch chat in these games. They had Joe Montana and they were talking to Joe Montana and they completely dropped doing commentary for that whole game while they were interviewing Joe Montana.
Oh, I could tell
Every
just by watching the highlights. It was like
every
Joe Montana was talking over every play that I was watching. I was like,
yes,
honestly, I really don't care about hearing from Joe Montana at this point.
every single person in the chat was losing their mind. Please tell Joe to shut up. Please hang up on Joe. Please show the game. Please talk about the game, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's funny. It's really funny that people are just like probably. I mean, he's not a guy that you see doing a lot of interviews either. So it's not like somebody that they're already sick of. It's just that they'd much rather hear about what's happening now than anything old.
Mm-hmm. And they were asking him some dumb questions too. Like the one guy, he's also like a owner of the Aces, I think. He asked Joe what state he'd rather have his last name after, and I rolled my eyes after that. That was just so painful.
Yeah, that's that's yeah, that's I don't even know where you come up with that question. I mean, who actually cares about that answer? Like,
No one does.
I want to
Joe
be.
didn't
I
even
wish
care about it.
I wish my name was Joe Alaska. Like,
Yeah, he just rolled his eyes and he was like, I don't know, North Dakota, it's whatever.
Joe
And
North.
they were all laughing and he just you could tell Joe wanted to like go to sleep or whatever. He's old.
Yeah, that's the real Sleepy Joe, right?
Yeah.
All right, you ready to talk about the National Football League?
One last thing, not about the FCF, but before we get into our main topic for today, you talked about the JJ Watt news. There's also a big, another big player that got moved today. He was released, and that is your boy Buster Screen.
Good. No one should sign him. What team was he on?
The Bears.
Oh, that's why the Bears defense started sucking, wasn't it? It's when they.
Well,
It's
he's
when
been
they.
on the Bears for like the past 3 years.
Nah, I bet it was only two. So that 2018 D was really good, and then that 2019, 2020, it was like kind of less than perfect, and I bet that was why. Bust
Yeah,
a screen,
sure.
or like bust a coverage. All right. Well, that is big news. I mean, you don't see your favorite your favorite guy to pick. I don't even know how to describe him because I don't want to say he's my least favorite player because I don't dislike him. It's just I swear he doesn't play well when I watch him ever. It's not like I hate him. It's just man, like how's he got a job? Okay. I don't want to rip on him too much though. Like seriously, that would not be good. All right.
We need him as a guest on the show eventually.
Yes. See, he still knows more than us, like obviously. All right.
Yeah.
Want to start with the AFC East?
Sure. Why don't you go first?
Okay. Well, my guy for the Buffalo Bills, as I'm, we're biased, and it's like, so it's kind of hard to be like, because we tend to overrate a lot of guys already, so you kind of have to pick from a guy that you're not really that hyped about yet, and I'm only going with this guy because this is the only guy that's not my own personal opinion. I just took other people's opinions because I was like, okay, if other people are just gonna say that he's gonna be a beast, I hope he's a beast, and let's go with it. Dane Jackson, cornerback. I have no reasons why except everybody else is telling me that he's gonna be good, so he better be good. Also, he's got a nice I kind of like how he's built too. So I guess that's another piece of it. And he's kind of got the part of the game down that you don't see a lot, which is tackling corners. And I'm not a very very big fan of tackling corners, but I mean, if you're playing the nickel, that would be a lot more important to me. But I'm guessing that he would be an outside coverage guy. So I don't know, but he's got the tough part of the game down. And I guess if we can just get some good, solid technique from him, maybe he could improve a lot in this upcoming season and actually get a lot more snaps to improve upon.
Yeah, practice was on the practice squad, got those COVID call-ups. He made plays every time he got in the game. Every time he was called up for games, he made plays. I think he had a couple interceptions, didn't he? At least two. No, it was a fumble recovery against the Cardinals. I know that he had a interception against the Jets when the Bills only scored with field goals. With field goals.
Nothing like beating the Jets with only field goals. Really shows that you're looking to be a 13-3 football team. Good Lord. Yeah, you had an all right season, and maybe you'll improve even more. Who do you got for the Bills?
I have another guy because like you said, well, we're pretty biased, so I went with a guy that I wasn't as high on last season. Even going into this season, I'm not as high on him, but I hope he improves and proves me wrong, and that's AJ Epinessa. When I watched his college highlights,
Sorry,
like a beast.
Sorry, can I cut you off quick? Did we ever say that this is for breakout players for each team?
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, this is breakout players for each team.
This is breakout players. So I picked AJ Epinessa for the Bills to break out next season in 2021. When I watched his college highlights going into last season, he was a beast. He was getting to the quarterback every time, and then for the first couple games, the Bills had him as inactive, and once they even had him active throughout the season, they used him so sparingly. Like, he would just get in on the rotation. Yeah, I think he had one of the lowest snap counts among the whole defensive line rotation, which just had me wondering why did we even waste a pick on this guy if we're not going to use him? But then as the season ended, I'm seeing more and more stuff come out that Leslie Frazier and the whole defensive coaches worked and the trainers too worked with him to slim down by 25 to 30 pounds so he could actually move faster, so that they didn't want him to be an edge and also an interior guy like some people thought he'd be. They wanted him to slim down so he could only play on the edge, which I get. And hopefully he plays all 16 games next season and starts more than just one game, which he did last season. If he does that, I could definitely see him actually balling.
You know who I should have put on my spot here instead of Dane Jackson, though? I really should have. Yes. If there's one guy I really should be please prove me wrong, is Ed Oliver. Come on. You're supposed to, as everybody said, you're supposed to be the next Aaron Donald, so come on, just do it already. I'm ready. I've been waiting. I'm ready.
I just want to have one of the most overrated defensive linemen in the league on my team. That's all I want.
Really? I mean, gosh, can't wait. All right, my next team I'm going here to is the Dolphins. You ready for my guy?
Yes.
All right. So from the Dolphins, this didn't happen very often, but for teams that I couldn't really find a guy that necessarily I loved turning up, but has had decent numbers in the past and just may get even better, go from star to superstar level. So this guy's already good, but also just doesn't get enough recognition for how good he is. Mike Gesicki is an absolutely amazing tight end. I mean, he's a freaking freak of nature, and he'll catch anything within a 20-foot arm's reach of him. So, I mean, I just really like him. He's pretty quick. As I said, he's tall, and he'll stick one arm fully extended out and make a catch that just looks absolutely ridiculous. And you'll be like, how did he do that? And he's a great player for the Dolphins. And I mean, his numbers could just be growing and growing every year.
Yeah, Gesicki's definitely a top 5 tight end in the NFL. If like you said, if he breaks out to superstardom next season, he's going to the top two solidified Kittle. With Kelce and Kittle. He's going to be giving Darren Waller a run for his money at 3 if he just balls next season.
Yeah. No, yeah. He just needs the targets. That's honestly it, I
Yeah,
think. I don't think it's anything else. If you give him the targets, I think he's good enough.
Which is really disappointing because Fitzpatrick targeted him up the wazoo last season, and then Tua would get in and would barely look his way, which is very disappointing.
Yeah, at least a lot less.
Mm-hmm.
All right, who's your Dolphin?
My Dolphin is a guy who played a lot last season, played all 16 games, didn't really have the numbers to come with it, but if the defense around him improves even more, if Kyle Van Noy plays every single game this season, I can see Raquan Davis breaking out. He's a force in the interior. I watched some of his highlights going into this. He gets to the quarterback. I think he had like 3 or 4 hurries, which isn't a lot, but same thing with AJ Epinessa. He like would start games, but they would rotate him like out so much that he wasn't really getting a shot. It seemed like most of the time.
Yeah.
Finished with 40 tackles on the season, which is really good for an interior defensive lineman, especially with a guy that was getting a small amount of opportunities like he was. But if he gets rotated in more and stays in more, he's definitely going to have a great season.
All right. Patriots. The Patriots. I was not excited looking at the Patriots roster. I got to be honest. They're not. Yeah. Candidates here is tough, but I think I've actually had more of a downtrend on this guy recently, but I was really hyping him up like in the preseason 2 years ago. Like I was scared that he was going to become really good for them, and he's actually a starting receiver for them now, at least most of the time. But Jacoby Myers was a late round pick for them, and he hasn't really developed into anything crazy. But I've always felt like there's something about him that makes him a little bit where he could be like not a great player, but a really solid player to just have around for a really long time. Like, oh man, I wish I could think of a good example, but basically, if you're not a superstar on a team, you eventually get let go. It just, a really solid guy, like always, probably not ever going to be a number 1 receiver, but just like a really consistent number 2 receiver that if they just wanted to give middle of the road contracts for the rest of his career, could always produce if there was competent quarterback play.
Yes, Jacoby Myers is also the guy that I picked.
Oh, okay. So yeah, there really is not many options on this team for once.
Yes, and I mainly picked him because there's going to be so much opportunity at wide receiver. They are so thin there, and he is I don't want to say obviously the best one, but what's his competition? Demir Bird, Nikhil Harry, he's at least a step or two ahead of those guys.
Yeah, I like him more than both those guys by a lot.
Yes.
And
so
why was Nikhil Harry a first round pick?
Because Belichick doesn't know how to draft that well.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, he can produce if he gets the opportunities. Maybe I'm not saying Cam's a bad quarterback, but if he gets a quarterback that can throw the ball more towards his chest, not at his feet, because there were some plays last season. I had Jacoby Myers in fantasy football, so I'd watch some Patriots games if the Bills were playing later. And there were some balls that Cam would throw at him that were just right at his feet.
Awful. I know Cam undershot a lot of throws.
Yes.
I think they really tried to change Cam a lot. I think, like I said, I mean, even with the play action thing that I mentioned the other day, where it was like he was selling the play action more in New England. I bet they probably had him like messing with his throwing motion too, because he doesn't have one of the smoothest throwing motions. So they were probably trying to fix that too. I wasn't paying attention to it, but I could almost guarantee that they were.
Yeah, if you go back and look at it, they probably tweaked it, and
yeah,
I don't know, man.
What about...
It's tough. It's tough looking at the Patriots roster and predicting a guy that's gonna break out.
Yeah, I mean, on the other hand, though, you have this awful Jets team. That's terrible. They're terrible, but on the other hand, I actually think there are a decent number more of like breakout candidates for them, like at a lot of positions too. So I'll let you go first. I want to hear you first for once.
Another receiver. He didn't play all season. I think he was hurt, and then he came back, and then he got hurt again. But Denzel Mims, the second round pick by the Jets last season, he played in 9 games, started 8 of the 9 he was there. I think the one game he didn't start, it's because he was still hurt, and they just wanted to get him some game action. He played decently. In 9 games, he had 350 yards, no touchdowns, but he also dropped like 50% of the balls thrown at him. If he can fix that problem and play a full season, he's going to produce more. And the Jets, he's going to have opportunity too, because he's the number 1 receiver on the Jets.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'd actually argue though, as long as Jamison Crowder isn't leaving, which I don't think he is, I think Crowder's probably the number 1, even though he's working the slot. He's probably realistically their number 1 receiver, and he's probably the 2.
Yeah, but if I'm with Mims breaking out has potential to become the number 1 receiver and pass Crowder.
Okay, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. My guy is LaMichael Pirine. I don't.
Okay.
They got a different coach on the coaching staff now, and I don't think Adam Gase is really was. I don't think there were many people that were like, let's give the 37-year-old the ball another 20 times this game. So LaMichael Pirine got the second most carries for this team, and if they don't draft a guy and or sign somebody that's a running back, which actually it seems like there's a pretty decent amount of running backs on the market they could go after. So we don't know necessarily. But if they don't go after one, I would like LaMichael Pirine as a breakout candidate, just from that perspective.
I'm surprised you didn't pick Frank Gore, but there's no certainty that Frank Gore is going to be there next season, so I understand that. So going with LaMichael Pirine.
No. I am saying that if Frank Gore is there, then then LaMichael Pirine will still be my choice.
No, but I'm saying
even if he's there,
you didn't pick Frank Gore to be the breakout star.
Yeah, no, didn't quite wasn't quite sold enough on that. Next division is AFC North for me, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And my first player for the AFC North, I have to intro this. I wanted to pick for the Ravens. Ravens here. This is who we're talking about. I wanted to pick Patrick Queen because like he's another one of those guys that realistically recognition wise like he's so good that he should probably be up there like with the guys that like just started playing recently that are getting a lot of recognition. Like Devon White in the playoffs was getting so much recognition for how he was playing, right? Yeah. So I mean, he should be up there getting that type of recognition. But then I held him off my list because of the fact that he really already is at like a superstar level, and I couldn't, because I mean, you just look at his stats. He's up there. He's balling. But then I was like, okay, well, let me look around, and I'm like, who's primed for a breakout season on this team that hasn't broken out yet for them? And I was like, well, this guy's broken out for a team before, but he hasn't broken out for this team before, and they need some help in the receiving game. I don't know about you, but I think a full offseason of Des Bryant is really going to help this organization get on the right track in the passing game, and maybe possibly have a Hollywood and a Des Bryant as their number 1s and number 2 receivers, and really look at getting Des more involved and actually catching some more passes to have a little bit more of a threat in the passing game.
I don't want to burst your bubble, but Des has come out and said that
He's leaving. Oh
no. He wants to return and play football next season. He doesn't want to return and play for the Ravens, though.
Oh my gosh. Well, this just ruins everything. Okay, I picked Patrick Queen then. Yeah. Your turn.
So I had Patrick Queen on my list too, and then I thought, I'm like, well, he's kind of already become a stud as a rookie, but I kind of changed that rule for other guys. Even in this division, I changed that rule. But I skipped over him as I was going through. And then I looked at this guy's stats, and I saw he only started one game, and that is J.K. Dobbins. Played in 15, started one.
He was the other guy I was looking at, too.
Yes. If Mark Ingram stops ripping... well, Mark Ingram's gone, so he's not going to be ripping away rushing attempts from him. And if J.K. Dobbins just becomes the lead back with maybe Gus the Bus back there to support him, he's going to be up in the conversation with Derrick Henry and Dalvin Cook in rushing yards next season.
I think I was actually thinking the same thing as you. And then the thing that made me change slightly, I'm not sure if this was the Ravens or it was a different team, but I think there was a running back that I was looking at that was similar, where it was like he should be getting more carries than this guy now, but there's other guys too. And it was like, okay, Gus Edwards is on the list, but it was like now Gus is I was just looking at Gus Edwards like yards per carry and averages and stuff, and he was just if I remember, like I said, if I'm remembering correctly, I feel like it was a lot higher than J.K. Dobbins. So I think that even if Dobbins becomes the number one back, I would still expect Edwards to get a lot of carries, and I think that's why I didn't put J.K. Dobbins as my guy for the Ravens.
Even if that's so, I can still see him breaking out because they're not feeding 3 different backs then. It's just 2.
Two's better.
Mark Ingram's carries are getting split between the 2 of them at that point, so his carries could even go up another 50 at least.
But I mean, like you're not getting the Derrick Henry treatment where I gotta be honest. I gotta be honest.
Play.
Like I don't know who Tennessee's backup running back is. If I had to guess, I would guess Deion Lewis, but I actually have no idea like who their second running back is, because when you watch a Titans game, it's like if Derrick Henry's not on the field, we're not even looking at the running back basically.
Yes. I get that.
Mm-hmm. All right, next.
Who do you have for Cincinnati?
Well, my Cincinnati guy is it's kind of, I don't know. This was kind of the first guy I thought of when it was like, is this Breakout? And then I was like, yes, it's Breakout, because everybody's gonna be like, oh shoot, he's better than him. Because I was thinking, we got Justin Herbert, right? And it's like offensive rookie of the year. And it's like, okay, let me look around this offense. And it's like Mixon's not. I don't think Mixon's gonna do a lot better. I think Gio's still sticking around. I don't think he's gonna break out. Like we all know what Gio's gonna do. We got a bunch of receivers that'll just all. I mean, some of them may surpass 1,000, but just a lot of really solid receiving options. I don't see a tight end. The entire defense, I don't really see anybody breaking out that wasn't already good, right? So I'm like, the only option is Joe Burrow. But the thing is that Joe Burrow played well last season. But the reason I'm still making it so that I can pick him is because I think that having everybody get the hype of Justin Herbert and having him be the offensive rookie of the year last year is that it made it so that everybody thinks he's the best quarterback in that draft class. And Joe Burrow really didn't get a lot of games to play. I think this year we could still see Joe Burrow surpass Justin Herbert for just in terms of after the end of this season. We go, hey, right now he's the best quarterback from that draft class. And if he does that, I think it's enough to I think that's enough to make it so that I can say that he would be a breakout player. Because even though he may not play like a ton better because he was already playing at a high level, he still surpassed someone. So that would be breakout to me. That's just how I was choosing to define it for them. So Joe Burrow's my Bengal.
That is exactly my train of thought. I picked Burrow as well.
All right.
I was looking at that team and I'm like, T. Higgins had a good year, but because I was going to pick T. Higgins and I was thinking T. Higgins' numbers kind of dropped off once Joe Burrow got hurt. So I think I should credit. I'm not discrediting T. Higgins with what he's done, but his numbers did fall off once Joe Burrow got hurt. So, I Joe Burrow just seems to be getting thrown to the wayside, and everyone's just talking about Herbert and Tua from that draft class because Burrow got hurt. He's gonna come back and prove that if he comes back and proves that he's the best quarterback in that draft class, it's going to surprise a lot of people, which is going to be weird because the hype going into that draft was, oh, Burrow's leaps and bounds better than all these guys, and Herbert's the most raw out of all the quarterbacks in the draft class, and he's not going to be that good, which is really weird to think about now in retrospect.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, so we both. Do you agree with me? Do you think Burrow? I think Herbert. Like we saw Herbert do it this year. Like he's gonna be good. But do you think after next season Burrow's better than Herbert?
Yes.
I think so too.
Burrow's going to do more with less too, so that's going to be another thing that you have to factor into the equation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of a big fan of the running backs and the wide receivers that Cincinnati has. Not the tight end; they have no tight end at all.
I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm saying that they're very underrated because he's going to have Auden Tate, T. Higgins.
Oh, so you're a big Auden Tate fan too, because you just chose to talk about him first before you mentioned anybody else.
I was going in alphabetical order. No. Auden Tate, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, John Ross may or may not be there.
Yeah, AJ Green's not.
AJ Green's not going to be there. No.
Excited to see where he goes though.
Yes, it's gonna be a heck of an offseason.
Tampa Bay.
Everyone taking $1 deals to go play for Tampa Bay.
Take the Vetman. I'm in. Yeah. My Browns pick is kind of terrible.
Okay, who'd you pick for the Browns?
I couldn't pick a guy because it's like I like all of these guys, but I also don't love any of these guys. So it was like okay, there were some teams where it was like there was no one and I was picking from scraps. And there was other teams where there was a lot of great guys and I had to choose the best one out of the bunches of greats. These are just a bunch of middle of the road guys that could turn up or just disappear entirely. And I don't know which one. But I have 4 guys here. I'm just going to list them off, not give any reasons for any of them, and I'm going to say that 2 of them will actually turn into solid players this year, okay?
Okay.
Harrison Bryant, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Mac Wilson, and Ronnie Harris. Sorry, Ronnie Harrison, not Harris. Ronnie Harrison. And 2 out of those 4 guys will actually turn up, have really good seasons, and the other 2 will just stay at their average play level that they've been at.
I picked Donovan Peoples-Jones, so you and I both had that.
Okay, so he's gonna be one of the 2. Now, who's the other guy? From my list, who's the other guy you're picking?
Harrison probably.
Oh, okay. So you think they're gonna have a really strong offensive output? You think they're really gonna get away from Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb and really get to throwing the ball to Donovan Peoples-Jones and Harrison Bryant all the time? That's a lot of spreading the ball around.
Well, I don't think Odell's gonna be there next season.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of wondering about that too. It seems really weird how that situation's panning out. I don't know what's up with that. I mean, that's going to be a really interesting thing to follow though, because I don't know. It seems like he should be gone, but now it's gotten quiet and it's wait, is he happy? Is he sad? What's going on here?
Yeah, if Odell is still there next season, then maybe Donovan, because my whole thing with picking Donovan Peoples-Jones was my thinking of Odell isn't going to be there next season.
Yeah, he'll be the number 2 receiver.
Yes. But if Odell's there, then maybe Donovan Peoples-Jones could still have a breakout season, but not Ronnie Harrison.
No, I mean, I had to put Donovan Peoples-Jones on here, though, because I picked Dez for the other team. So, I mean, I literally think it's copy and pasted Des Bryant, so I like him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right though. Last team. Sorry, have to make sure I know which team this is. This was one of the teams where I was like, okay, gotta make sure I know which team I'm talking about here. The Steelers.
Yes.
All right. I picked 2 guys. So if you pick, I wrote down 2 guys, but really I'd go with either of them. So if you pick one of the 2 guys I have, I'm gonna let you go first. If you pick one of the 2 guys I have, I'll talk about the other one.
All right. Who? Oh, do you want me to?
Yes, you have to go first because I need to know.
I picked Derek Watt. Now you're laughing at this.
No, hang on. I'm just telling you, one of my picks was not Derek Watt, so now I have to make a choice.
Oh, okay. Well, Derek Watt has the chance to break out because I can see with Ben coming back. I don't know if Ben's going to be a little crybaby and say that he needs to still throw the ball 80 times a game, especially after his arm probably feels like jello after last season. So I hope the Steelers move more towards the run game, not move more towards it, but have a balance and actually get the fullback involved. Because I don't think James Conner is going to be there. I think he's going to leave in free agency. They're going to have Benny Snell, so that's going to be a power run game. In a power run game, you need a fullback. So Derek Watt's going to have a breakout season, not in the stat category, obviously, because I can see him getting a couple goal line runs for touchdowns, maybe a couple receptions out of the backfield. But mainly he's going to be tearing it up and blocking, which he did quite well when he was with the Chargers. He just hasn't gotten any opportunity because I remember in that game against Cleveland, in the playoff game, he got a carry and they were like, yeah, that's Derek Watt's first carry of the season. And I was like, if you have a fullback that he's known by name because of his brothers, but he still wasn't even that bad when he was with the Chargers. He would still get more than 1 carry in the regular season. Like I think he averaged like 5 carries a season, which for a fullback is pretty good if you're not named Juszczyk. And he just fell off to you're gonna just play on special teams, which kind of dumbfounded me. Which is why I think he's going to be a breakout player.
I don't mind your thought process, but I just don't see the Steelers. I don't see Big Ben sticking around and being happy with, oh yeah, we can start handing the ball off like every play. Like I don't see it. I don't even know. I mean, but
that's when you cut him and you just play Dwayne Haskins.
You see the cap hit for that.
That's when you bench him and just play Dwayne Haskins and let him retire halfway through the season.
That would be hilarious if they were just like, okay, we won't cut you, but we're just going to keep you on roster.
We're going to put you on IR and just have you sit there.
Oh, I got to say my guy now.
Who are you? Who was one of your 2 guys? Yeah, you could say both of them and just go in depth on one of them, but that would kind of leave the viewer hanging. So maybe just pick one.
Yeah, no, I'll say both of them, but I'm gonna pick one of them. Avery Williamson and Cameron Sutton. I like Cameron Sutton more. I'm gonna go with him. So, breakout cornerback. Okay. He played pretty well last season. I just think cornerback's a position where like something like interceptions can matter a lot, and you can kind of just get lucky in terms of interception because you can be Darrelle Revis and have a guy locked up every play and just have the ball never thrown at you, and it's like, well, I didn't get an interception this season, and it's like, well, yeah, sorry, you're not gonna get much notice then, at least just in terms of like watching a game at home, unless you're like as well known as Darrelle Revis is. If you're not getting interceptions, like the guys whose names popped this season, Xavier Howard, J.C. Jackson, like the guys that just aren't really well-known corners. I guess Xavier may almost kind of be up there at this point, but like J.C. Jackson, reason his name got up there is because the I mean, there is skill involved, but sort of kind of the luckiness with the interception. So I think Cameron Sutton will be in for a really good next season. And I think he already is playing at a pretty high level, to be honest, anyways.
Yeah, I can see that. I was looking at him, but I just had that intrusive thought keep coming of like the Steelers are going to shift more towards the run, hopefully, if they actually want success in the postseason. Derek Watt's going to be, well, if James Conner leaves, Benny Snell's going to benefit the most, obviously.
Yeah.
But even if James Conner stays, Derek Watt's going to benefit no matter what the running back situation is, when it comes to blocking, at least.
Yeah. AFC West time?
Yes, AFC West time.
All right.
Who do you have for the Denver Broncos?
My guy for the Denver Broncos, I really didn't even need to look at the stats for this, but I checked him out just to see, and it was like, okay, he's kind of doing what I expected him to do. But he's a guy that when I watch Broncos games, and I didn't watch many Broncos games last year, maybe like 2, 3 the most.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm watching the Broncos, guy that I just can't keep my eyes off of, Alexander Johnson. He's a heck of a player. I mean, just doing everything on the field well, and not so much for the breakout aspect because, like I said, like other guys before, he's playing well, so not like your standard issue breakout, but really just get the attention he deserves. Like he's playing at a really high level, and he deserves a little more credit to his name.
Yes, he was one of the guys that I looked at before I went in the direction that I went in, and that would be Jerry Judy. Jerry Judy, it seemed like when I was watching my 2 or 3 Broncos games that I watched last season, I think all of them were in prime time. I did watch the one game that they played against the Dolphins.
And the one that was broadcast to us while the Bills game was supposed to be on while they were playing.
Yeah. I was sitting in my dorm screaming, man. I was so mad about that.
It was a mess. But
Judy...
let me just explain that quick in case anybody doesn't know that's watching this. Yeah, the Bills game at the Dolphins in like week 2 of the season got like the broadcast got cut out because something happened with power lines in Miami. So Bills and Dolphins fans couldn't watch that game for like a 20-minute period and instead just had to watch Steelers Broncos at like a 1:00 game on Sunday.
Yes, and going to that Steelers-Broncos game, the thing that really hurt Jerry Judy this season is he had all the pressure put on him to be a number 1 wide receiver because Courtland Sutton got hurt early. And I think that led to some of his drop problems being targeted as much as he was. Granted, dropping more than 50% of your of the balls thrown at you that are catchable is kind of ridiculous. He's going to have to fix that. But that was just one only issue that I saw. I mean, there's that clip that's like viral on every sports page on Instagram and Twitter where he's running a route. I think it was against AJ Terrell, where he doesn't even have him beat yet. He just throws his hand up, and then the guy stutters or keeps running back, and then Judy stutters and keeps running, and he's wide open. So the dude knows how to get open. It's just as a rookie receiver, at least last season, he had way too much pressure put on him to be that guy. And with Courtland Sutton coming back and also everyone else that's in that receiver room, he's going to produce more and hopefully catch more balls.
I mean, they got 4 guys in that receiver room that I would be happy with as my number 2 receiver. So, I mean, that's pretty nice. And yeah, the thing that coming out of college that was like the reason to draft Judy was that route running as compared to Ruggs and Lamb, because they were the other 2 guys that were like top of the draft board. Those were the first 3 receivers that were going to go. It was like the separation on almost all these routes is absolutely insane. And yeah, he can do it. I just didn't see it as consistently as at the NFL level, and I think he needed to get more used to making some contested catches. And I think he did, because there's still that highlight in the Jets game where he like jumps over a guy, right? Scores a deep touchdown.
His first NFL touchdown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, it's there, possibilities there that he can continue advancing. And I think he probably will get a lot better. So I wouldn't lose hope yet. And yeah, I see what you're saying there. I do. Mm-hmm. I was thinking about picking a receiver. I just didn't know which one I wanted to go with, honestly, because none of them really balled out last year. So it was kind of up in the air. You really could have picked any of them based off how they played last season.
Mm-hmm. And every single rookie last season didn't have a preseason, so that's tough
Mm-hmm.
for evaluation. Just like, oh yeah, okay, week 1, go out there and play without any NFL game speed experience except practice, but that's really nothing compared to games.
Yeah, that is completely true.
Who do you got for the Chiefs?
Okay. I've kind of got a little. I've kind of got a decent amount to say for the Chiefs. So if you just want to go first, I'll let you.
Sure. The guy I picked had a great season last season. Didn't play all 16 games. This is I don't want to say a major thing, but it's something that I looked into. If you didn't play all 16 games, I was thinking, oh, even if you produced with this guy, he played in 9 games, started 6. L'Jarius Sneed, he had 3 picks
Baller.
and 2 sacks. And
Baller.
yes, certified baller. And if he plays a whole season, or when he plays a whole season, he is going to stunt on everyone on the field. He's so good.
Yeah, I was just wondering if his name in the playoffs got too big, so that like people knew him too much. So that's the only reason I kept him off. But yeah, you're obviously right. He's a great player, and if I mean over the course of 16 games, he'll look absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
go on your rant now.
Okay, did you know that the Chiefs have the two, according to ESPN at least? I don't know if this is true. The Chiefs have the 2 best quarterbacks in the league on their roster.
You said quarterbacks?
Yes.
With a Q?
Yes, Q. Quarterbacks. The 2 best quarterbacks in the league on the roster.
They're counting Chad Henne as one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
He's not on my list.
Oh, Travis Kelce.
No. I'm talking about real quarterbacks.
Matt Moore's not on that roster, is he?
No. You're missing it. Okay, the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL are both on the Chiefs rosters. You ready for their names?
Yeah, sure.
Jordan Ta'amu and Anthony Gordon are both on the Chiefs roster.
Oh, wow.
And they have that Patrick Mahomes guy, too, who's not half bad. So, I mean, like, you want to look at a quarterback room that's stacked. Like, look no further. But when I found out that Anthony Gordon, I mean, I knew Ta'amu had been working with him, but this was really, that joke was really just for the Anthony Gordon part. When I found out that he actually signed with them on their roster, I'm excited. I really want to see him in some preseason action. I want to get some preseason games this year so I can watch Anthony Gordon play. And it's more exciting if it's with the Chiefs because I think there's more of a chance of success with the Chiefs. You know, high on him last year. So I just wanted to tell you that. Anthony Gordon was a rookie quarterback from last season who came out of Washington State and kind of was like a late round pick or undrafted. I think he actually may have been undrafted. And then didn't make a team last year, so I was sad, but I really liked him.
He was on Seattle's practice squad for a bit.
Yeah, but he'd never actually made a team. And then, okay, also, this is another thing I have to say for the Chiefs. Just because these 2 things, I thought I couldn't not talk about these things when I found them both out while I was picking my player for the Chiefs. Okay, how much do you think Damien Williams weighs?
225.
224, good guess. How tall do you think Damien Williams is?
5'8".
5'11". Okay.
He's that tall?
Yes, he's 5'11" and he's 224. Okay, now, how much do you think Darrell Williams weighs?
250.
224. How tall do you think Darrell Williams is?
Is he a clone? Is he also 5'11"?
Yes, they're both the same height and the same weight, and their names are Damien Williams and Darrell Williams.
The same person.
Nah, it's not true, though, because Damien Williams is the playmaker, and Darrell Williams is just Darrell Williams. So
yeah, he's just D. Williams. They got the playmaker, and then they got D. Williams.
Now, really quick analysis for the Chiefs here. They were a Super Bowl team. They're getting the most out of most of their guys. But the guy that I'm going with because he literally seems like he may be an absolute maniac from all the stories I've heard about him, is Willie Gay Jr. And I'm not going to go any more into that than that. I just know that I've heard a lot of stories about this guy, and he seems like a crazy guy. And if he can translate that onto the football field, then he's scary. And that's where I'll leave it for the Chiefs.
That's a good pick. What about the Chargers? What do you got for the Chargers?
Hunter Henry gone. New guy in the building. Tight end position. Former, I think XFL. I think he was the XFL baller. 6'8" tight end, Donald Parham Jr. We haven't seen a tight end that tall ball out. And from what I saw when I caught some Chargers games and actually saw him catching passes, he did some pretty impressive stuff. So if he becomes the number one tight end, Hunter Henry had a lot more catches last season than I thought he did because I'm used to him being injured and not playing that many games. I think he got somewhere close to like 90 receptions. If those all go to Parham, watch out for Donald Parham. Or all those targets go to Parham, watch out for him. I really like him.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I liked watching Donald Parham in the XFL, and I saw that he had a couple beautiful catches in the NFL. With the Chargers, there was one where he had a game-winning touchdown, and then it got called back or something. That was a whole fiasco.
Sounds like a Chargers game, to be fair.
Yes, especially last season. For me, I picked Jerry Tillery. He's going to be going into his third season. He's produced very well. His sack numbers have gotten up every year, but I mean they've gone from 2 to 3. I can definitely see him taking a huge jump. He's an interior defensive lineman, but with Melvin Ingram gone, that's going to create more opportunities for him to get to the quarterback, though he's not an edge rusher. People are still going to double team, triple team Joey Boso because he's that good. He's still going to get to the quarterback. I tried to look up what his pressure rating was or how often he hurried the quarterback. I couldn't find anything. And then I saw that he dropped back into coverage like 4 or 5 times last season. They need to get rid of that. They cannot be having him dropping into coverage 4 or 5 times.
Well,
not a game, but just in total over the season, because that's 4 or 5 times where he could be rushing the passer.
Don't worry, because like you said, Brandon Staley is the next Sean McVay of the defense.
Sean McVay on defense, yes.
Oh,
and
my,
he's not going to be dropping Jerry Tillery into coverage.
Yes, no, he may be, because remember, you said he's Sean McVay at defense, which means he's about to have some sort of new scheme that we're not used to seeing a lot of.
To see Jerry Tillery
I really hope
15 interceptions next season then.
Jerry Tillery turns up, breaks the single season interception record as a defensive end.
As
right?
everyone hails Brandon Staley as the Sean McVay of defense.
Is he an end? He's an end, right?
Jerry Tillery, he's a tackle. He's interior lineman.
He's an interior lineman. He dropped into coverage 4 times.
Yes, 5 times, I believe.
What the freak? Yeah. Innovation.
That's why I don't think Brandon Staley's going to do that. I just think whatever whack Anthony Lynn had running his defense was doing that. That's got to stop. Those are 5 sacks off the board right there that Jerry Tillery could have gotten.
Yeah. Yes, it's true. Man.
Let's round out the West with the Raiders here. Who do you got?
The Raiders. I got a man that's probably gonna be even better than he was last season, but I already love him as a player. He's a great player. He's a baller, and maybe he'll get that superstar recognition he deserves. Last season, I said that the Raiders would be had the best safety room in the league, but they kind of realized, hey, it's kind of ridiculous to have this many starting caliber safeties, so they cut it down to 2. And John Abram's still there though. He's one of the guys that helped make me say that was the best safety room in the league, and he balled out last season, and I just expect more from him this season. He's actually probably going to get to play. Rookie season he missed a ton of games, and I'm not sure if I can't remember. He may have been a guy. Can't be sure. Can't remember, to be honest. But I know for the games he did play in last season, he put up solid numbers, and I really like him. Whenever I watch him, I'm just really impressed with how he plays. So I'm going with him to turn up even more than he already has and be a huge baller, superstar player in the NFL.
I had John Abram, and then I immediately thought, as soon as I put him on my list, I'm like, Hayden's gonna choose him, and I want to be different than Hayden here. So I went with Henry Ruggs.
I almost chose Hunter Renfrow because I was like, Henry Ruggs played well last season, but like I'm ready to see some Wes Welker numbers from Hunter Renfrow. And the only reason I compare those two guys is because yes, they're both white slot receivers, but they're not only both white slot receivers, it's also that they both look like they're like 40 years old when they're in their 20s. Like, they both looked like really old guys even while they were playing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Hunter Renfrow looks like an old man.
Hunter Renfrow started balding when he was 15.
Oh my gosh. Okay, talk about Henry Ruggs.
Henry Ruggs, another guy that didn't play all 16 games, and like I said, that's going to be something I factor into heavily. He only had 35 total touches last season. That seems wrong.
Wow, that's not even catches. That's just touches.
Yeah. 26 catches, and then he had 9 carries for 49 yards. He was targeted 43 times. I don't know how many of those were catchable that he dropped. I see that his catch percentage was 61%. So that seems like all of those were catchable, but I doubt that. He can easily establish himself as a number one receiver in that receiving room, especially now that they released Tyrell Williams, or at least plan on releasing Tyrell Williams. I don't know that whole situation yet. I think they've already released him.
Well, I've actually seen like a notification on 3 separate occasions that has said the Raiders have released Tyrell Williams, and then I was like, and then the second time I got it, I was like, this already happened, and the third time I saw it, I was like, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah, I think Tyrell Williams is released. So the only receivers that I can name for them are Henry Ruggs, Hunter Renfrow, and Zay Jones. And Hunter Renfrow has that slot spot locked down. Henry Ruggs should not have a problem establishing himself as the number one outside threat. Granted, if Zay wants to break out, I mean, more power to him.
Hey, most receptions in college football history right there.
Uh-huh.
Just gonna ignore that comment.
Yes, Henry Ruggs can make himself, just like Jerry Judy, show why he was in the top 3 of receivers for that draft next season.
Yeah. Who's the other guy? CeeDee Lamb was another guy. Actually, I haven't said this to you, but I think we'll just go AFC tonight because I mean, an hour and 20 minutes is plenty long, and that's kind of what we're on pace to do right now. An hour and 20 minutes with one division left in the AFC. So I figured we could just do half. But I mean, CeeDee Lamb too. I don't think I put him as my Cowboys guy. I hope I'm not spoiling anything. I think I picked someone else. Let me make sure I didn't pick him for the Cowboys. No, I didn't.
Just cut this out. Right? You could just cut this out.
Well, no. I didn't pick him for the Cowboys, so no. But yeah, I mean, all the like early round, like obvious, early round receivers, like all should turn up next season because they didn't do enough this year for how like I actually liked like all 3 of those top guys. Like I would have been happy with any of them. I would have picked CeeDee the highest. I would have picked Judy probably next, and I probably would have picked Ruggs last. But, I mean, Judy and Ruggs were close, and I put CeeDee ahead of the pack because I really liked his run after catch ability. Even though they all showed it, I just thought CeeDee in the open field was something insane. But, yeah, they all need to just do a lot better next season.
Mm-hmm. With a season under their belt, like I said before, with no preseason, it's really tough, especially for a receiver, especially for not CeeDee, because CeeDee had Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup, but Judy and Ruggs, without they had to establish themselves as the number 1 wide receiver immediately.
Meanwhile, Minnesota Minnesota's over here running outside zone 10 out of 11 plays, and then on the 11th consecutive play, you think they're going to call outside zone. They finally go, hey, play action. What's his face? Justin Jefferson is going to run a deep post route, and he's going to act like he's blocking you the same way he has for the 10th play in a row, and then he's just going to run by you, and it's going to be like, oh, Justin Jefferson's so good. It's like, oh, well, I mean, I guess.
And he caught the ball. That's more than what Jerry Judy did last season.
That's very fair. Ready to talk about the AFC South?
Yeah. Who do you got first? What team?
Who do I want to talk about first? I want to talk. No, because we're gonna conclude with this. So actually, I'll do the two less fun ones first. Okay, I want to talk about the Texans first. The Texans.
All right.
I gotta be honest. I could. They're like this. This was one of those teams where I was like, man, I don't even want to pick a guy, but if I got to. A guy I enjoyed and I thought did well on tape for college that could do well in the NFL that didn't really. He didn't get a lot of snaps. Ross Blacklock did not get a lot of snaps last season in the NFL, but I really liked his college tape. So if he can get more snaps in the NFL, it could lead to more sacks, but also just a lot more interior pressures, tackle for losses, everything. I thought he was a solid player and he's a big, strong, interior defensive lineman wherever he played in college. I feel like it was a purple team like TCU or something. That's probably wrong, just to be fair, because it's been like a year since I watched it. But yeah, I liked what I saw in college, so I'll pick him to be my guy for the Texans. That's going to be my breakout guy.
When I was looking at I spent the most time trying to find a guy for the Texans because everyone on that team, I don't think anyone on that team wants to break out.
Yeah, because if they wanted to break out, they'd leave the team. They wanted.
Yes. Yeah, their breakout would be freeing themselves from that prison that is the Texans. So I went in, looked at the roster.
Have you heard the quote that what's his face, the guy on NBC? He talks with Chris Sims every day. Mike Florio. Have you heard the quote that he loves to talk when he talks about the Texans? He says every time.
What does he say?
He always said, he's like, his favorite Texans quote is basically, you can't let the inmates run the prison, as they're comparing their players. Literally somebody in Texans management said that he compared the players to prison inmates.
That's terrible.
It's awful, but it's also hilarious that they actually thought that was a reasonable thing to say.
That is so bad. Well, one of the guys that I picked that is in that terrible situation is Pharaoh Brown. Do you know who Pharaoh Brown is, Hayden?
I think he's a wide receiver that I'd probably get mistaken for Pharaoh Cooper on a random day.
He is a tight end. And
okay. I actually like Jordan Akins enough to think he'll keep the starting tight end spot, but I also don't think Jordan Akins is that good, so I didn't pick Jordan Akins.
That's because I looked at it and I was like, Darren Fells is old. I don't know if he can keep up just catching jump balls from 2 yards out in the end zone. I don't know if he can keep that up for much longer because he's going to be taking a beating sooner or later. His body's going to feel it. His body probably is already feeling it. And Jordan Akins, I don't think he's good at all.
What? Oh, we got different opinions on Jordan Akins. I don't think he's ever. I don't think he. Listen, if we're talking about dev trait, he doesn't even have a dev trait. He's not going to develop at all. But mediocre level talent, give me Jordan. Give me.
He's a 76 overall with no dev trait.
That's literally the exact overall I was thinking. Yes, I was thinking just a solid 76 forever. It's
the color on that bar is green.
You got this guy you're talking about who's a 68 who's got superstar X Factor dev, and you're like, I want to get him in the game, and I'm like, Akins is higher.
All right, Pharaoh Brown, he he was with them the whole season, but it just because I watched a couple Texans games, I put myself through that misery. I think it was early in the season I watched them because
Thanksgiving, probably.
Yeah, Thanksgiving. And then one or two times in the early season. Well, week 1, they played against the Chiefs. But he seemed like he wasn't. It didn't seem like he was getting the most touches. It seemed like he was doing the most with those touches, though. He had some decent run after catch. But he had 16 targets, 14 catches on the season. And when I watched him, I was like, why is this guy not getting more snaps? And then they bring in other guys that steal targets away. Now, he plays tight end, but they brought in Chad Hansen. I understand their receiving room was weak, but they're just bringing in more guys that are taking away catches from him. And he's a pretty athletic tight end. It's going to be his 4th year in the league next season. And this is going to be his first time. It's going to be the same way with like guys with Jacksonville last season where they're just obviously going to be terrible. So the guys that would get overlooked are going to have a ton of opportunity.
So
I think he's going to be the one guy that shows out the most.
Are they going to start 1-0 though? Like, I
don't now under the great leadership of David Culley.
What if the Colts?
I can see him.
What if the Colts drew the Texans week 1 and the Colts lost to the Texans?
That'd be amazing.
Well, what if we get Texans Jags week 1? Oh, that'd be a treat.
Oh.
No, no. What am I saying? That sounds like the perfect game to make the week 2 Thursday night game. Texans Jags.
I would like to see Trevor Lawrence just beat up on a team in his first NFL start.
Oh shoot, I'm forgetting they have Trevor Lawrence. They may be competent. Yeah, I don't know. Still like I like a lot of the Jags players for how bad they are.
Pharaoh Brown though, remember the name. He's gonna show out next season.
Oh, I'll remember the name. You didn't even know what position he played, so I'm ready.
Who do you got? Or what?
I want to go Colts next. I want to go Colts.
Okay, that's exactly what I was gonna offer up next.
Okay,
great.
So
who do you got?
So we got Ty's out, right? Ty's he's out of town. Yeah, so means we got to have a receiver step up and have a really solid season. And I think Michael Pittman played pretty well last year, but I think he's going to take his game to another level. On top of that, I also like the fact that he's cocky enough to say, hey, yeah, new starting quarterback that's coming in. I don't know if you want this number, but even though we haven't even discussed it yet, I'm not giving it to you, so don't even talk to me about that. I'm keeping this number for myself. It's my number, screw off. And then, also, another thing is that last time we had a receiver whose YouTube channel I knew about before they got into the NFL, being Juju Smith-Schuster, they really started to ball out in their second season. Now, down the road, I don't know how it's going to turn out, if it's going to go like bad, but I know about Michael Pittman's YouTube channel, and that thing's getting pretty big. It's with like his wife or his girlfriend or something, and so I mean, I'm thinking I'm just like everything's aligning. It's perfect. I think he's in for a big year here.
All right, I can see it. I went on the defensive side of the ball for the Colts here, and I chose someone that's going to make that defense even more stout than he already did last season, and that's Bobby Okariki. Won them 2 games single-handedly. Bobby Okariki did. And if he could just keep that on the uprise, I can't remember the word that I was gonna say there, but if he could just keep single-handedly winning the Colts more and more games.
I'm trying to help you, but I can't think of whatever word you're trying to go up with. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I'll probably remember when we're done with this and freak out. But if that was year 2 for him and he single-handedly won 2 games, I mean, year 3 it should be 4. maybe
4
5.
games.
Single-handedly winning the team 4 or 5 games right there.
Defensive player single-handedly winning a team 4 games. I like it. I love it. That's confidence right there.
In all seriousness though, because I don't want to rob a Colts fan of not analyzing a player that I chose. I do think that he is good because he has that clutch factor, which is weird to say in a linebacker, especially for securing safeties, which is what he did. He's really good at pass coverage. And when he rushes the passer, which they don't ask him to, or they asked him to do more this season than they did last season. He was getting there. He was knocking him down. Didn't get a sack, but I think he recorded a couple hurries, which is nice that he can do everything while also putting the team on his back and winning 2 games single-handedly.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. think it's a good pick. Maybe it'll be a name that actually like comes to my mind when I think of the Colts defense after his quote unquote breakout season next season. Because I think you're right. He probably is a good player, but I mean, there's no way. There's no like even just thinking about the Colts generically, I'm not thinking that name yet.
Yes, as Juju Smith-Schuster would say, the Colts defense is a bunch of nameless gray faces, but they make a bunch of plays and are a very stout defense. It's just I don't know any of their names. I know Darius Leonard, I know DeForest Buckner, and that's it. Oh, and Malik Hooker. Sorry.
Yeah, why Malik Hooker? Like Malik Hooker isn't even that good. Jeez, man. Jeez. Speaking of that, though. Do you remember when they drafted Malik Hooker, how bad that defense was?
Yes.
That changed quick. Jeez. I hadn't even been thinking about it. It was like, okay, who do the Colts have on defense now? Once they drafted Malik Hooker, it was like that was finally a question that popped into my head. It's like, he's the only guy. He's literally the only guy. I don't know anyone else. Yeah. So... Ready for the Jags?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. My Jags pick. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they picked the guys in 2 drafts in a row that I have wanted, in Kayvon Chaisson and Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
They also have Dakota Allen from Last Chance U.
Ooh. Yes.
And they're all playing along. Now, this is according to ESPN.com because I'm assuming they're thinking that there are 3-4 because Josh Allen and Kayvon Chaisson are edge players. But yeah, they're all listed as linebackers, which I like. And then playing alongside Joe Schobert, who is like the most underrated linebacker in the NFL, and Telvin Smith too, is also. Sorry, Miles Jack, not Telvin Smith. Telvin Smith is the last guy I have to mention.
I just agreed with it, and then I, as I agreed with it, my eyes like kind of bulged a little bit. I'm like, no, he's not on that team.
Yeah, no. I have Telvin Smith written down though because Miles Jack also there. So they've got Joe Schobert and Miles Jack, and if Telvin Smith ever comes back, I mean this group of linebackers is just out of this world. If Telvin Smith decides to come back, that's the only reason I have Telvin Smith written down. But no, actually disregard the Telvin Smith thing. That was just a joke. But the rest of the guys, I really like the chances of the rest of those guys coming in and at least 2 of them having a really big impact because, like I said, Josh Allen was my favorite player in that draft. Kayvon Chaisson was my favorite player in last year's draft, and Dakota Allen's the Last Chance U guys, so I gotta root for him just for that, right? So I mean, yes. I'm excited for all those guys to be playing the quote unquote linebacker position for the Jaguars alongside with Miles Jack and Joe Schobert. So rooting for all of them. Realistically, probably hoping for more out of Josh Allen and Kayvon Chaisson, but Dakota Allen was also just a fun name to mention there, so I thought I'd throw them all in just because I basically love all those linebackers so much.
Yeah. I didn't choose one of those linebackers / edge rushers. I went with another guy that you love.
Really?
And that's Leviska Chanal.
I actually, even though I have talked up liking Leviska Chanal, I really don't care about him. Like, I'm sorry, I just have to tell you this because this is probably like a shock to you, but yeah, no. The only reason I like talked about Leviska Chanal is because I thought it was so funny that Colorado was using him as like a wildcat quarterback. I'm pretty sure Colorado's the school. Sorry if
Yes.
yeah. But
Yes,
I
it is.
thought it was so funny that he was a wildcat quarterback there because it didn't make any sense to me. It was like he has no traits that makes him like any better than anyone else on the team at being a wildcat quarterback. Like, yes, he's a good receiver, but the wildcat quarterback part didn't make any sense to me, and that was just so funny to me that is why I actually probably like talked about him so much or mentioned him so often. But yeah, he's a fine receiver, but that's really why I talked about him so much, and I never really did like have a huge man crush on him like some other guys like Chason or Allen that are also on the team.
Yes. But moving to Visca, where I can talk about why I think he will break out. Didn't play all 16 games, so again, there's that. Also, the Jags ran the ball with. I don't know how many of these were jet sweeps. I know that they ran like the Wildcat with him a couple times. He had 18 like carries.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they need to kind of cut that down a little bit.
Turn that up?
No, that's what I was. They either need to cut it down or turn it up more.
Yeah, because that's only like once a game.
Yes. It's just weird. I think with Trevor Lawrence there having a better quarterback, he's going to have more opportunities. He's one of the bigger receivers on the team. And also there's just something you got to love about a guy that 600 yards flat on the season. That's great for math. I mean,
Yeah, that
come
makes
on.
it easy.
And 5 touchdowns while only I shouldn't say only playing in 14 games, but 5 touchdowns in 14 games, started 12 of them. He was targeted like 80 times, caught 60 of them. And most of the balls that he didn't catch were or most of the targets that he didn't catch were not catchable. So
Yeah,
he's
there's some pretty bad quarterback play.
yes, with a better quarterback, he's prime. He's primed for it at this point.
I agree.
Let's end this now with the Titans.
Yeah. You want to go first?
Sure. The guy I have for the Titans, he's going into year 3. Hopefully stabilized at the position he's going to be in now. That's Jeffrey Simmons. The Titans moved him from end to tackle this season, and his sack totals went up, which is kind of weird to see an edge rusher move to the interior and have his sack numbers go up. But if he can keep that up,
well, yeah, I mean the one guy that everybody craves over that's an edge rusher that has been playing in the interior his entire career is Aaron Donald, if you didn't notice.
Yes.
That's literally what he is. He's a guy who probably should be on the edge that they put in the middle and are like, whoa, why does this work so much differently than putting your standard issue defensive tackle here? It's like, because he's not a defensive tackle.
yes. He played almost a full season. He didn't play one game. I think that was either week 1 or week 17. He didn't play. I think it was just because the Titans either sat him because they had the playoff spot locked. They didn't have the seating locked, so I doubt it was week 17. I think it was week 1 he sat. He gets the quarterback a lot. He had 14 hits this season, which is insane for a D tackle. But that hybrid of guy that plays edge, move him on the inside and let him just go to town. He's proving that it's really great, and it's with Brandon Staley, the future Sean McVay defense is going to be doing that a lot. So
yeah. So you're telling me I'm going to be seeing a lot of Joey Bosa in the middle of the defensive line, Melvin Ingram
Maybe.
and Joey Bosa in the middle of the defensive line.
Melvin Ingram's probably going to leave. They might re-sign him.
Dude,
though.
there's so many free. It seems like there's so many more free agents than there usually is.
It is so hard to keep up. Yes, I agree.
This is insane how many of them there are. There's going to be so many 1 and 2 year deals this year too. That's just going to make it even more ridiculous. Yeah.
Content though, Hayden. Content.
Yes. So the only possible guy I see on this roster, without any doubt, will be on the roster, that should have a lot bigger of an impact. Actually, I don't even know this because I don't even know what his contract is. I was assuming that it was more than 1 year, but geez, that may be too far of an assumption as well. Is Clowney still on roster, right?
No, he's not.
Oh, good. Okay, well then Clowney doesn't matter. Okay, well here's my other guy I have then. Clowney wasn't even my actual guy, but Clowney was my pick if he was on the roster. My other guy is also not on the roster though, so he is for now, but may not be. If they move on from Stephen Gostkowski, got to close on a high note here. Got to go to the kicker room. If they're willing to move on from Stephen Gostkowski, I like a guy by the name of Sam Sloman. I think he'll come in and do a lot better than Gostkowski did last season. Sam Sloman is in the room right now. I think he's knocking on the door. And honestly, even though it's really boring, I think he is the guy who has the best chance to break out for the Titans.
Yeah, the Titans team seems like it's full of guys that are already established or guys that are just set in stone in that backup role.
Yeah, like I don't think Corey Davis is about to take over for AJ Brown.
Well, he's a free agent too.
Okay, but I don't think Khalif Raymond is about to take over for AJ Brown. Is that a better example? Like I don't see it.
Yeah, no, I get it. When I was looking at the Titans too, I was going to their punter I think is younger-ish, and it was between him or Jeffrey Simmons, and I was like, I think I'm just gonna go Jeffrey Simmons here because I don't.
Oh, wouldn't it have been great if we both went special teams for the Titans?
Yeah, but I really didn't feel like I picked the punter because no one else on that team is going to break out.
Fullback.
Yeah, he's gonna break out though. That's the thing. I could provide a lot of reasons why Derek Watt's gonna break out.
Oh my gosh, are you good? That was the AFC portion. Of this.
Yes, I am good. I am good.
Okay, happy?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm happy. You happy?
I'm ecstatic.
Awesome. Do we have an outro yet?
No, we don't. It's the 7th episode, I think. No, we don't.
You just want to cut it here?